Hi, and thanks for taking the time to watch today's Connect video. It's Tuesday, last day of March, March 31st. And my name is Steve Van Clay. I'm the lead pastor here at Canyon del Oro Bible Church in Oro Valley, Arizona. Our theme for this year as a church is kingdom builders, that we are building the kingdom and a focus on the bigger picture, not just our church, but the kingdom of God. So I'm in a series of my Connect videos here that I do every Tuesday morning in a series of videos on the topic of parenting. And today is video number 9 of 10 videos. And today's topic is a tough one: the empty nest. So let's start by defining it. You think you might not need to define this, but I think we do. Just let's define the empty nest. The empty nest is when the kids move out of the house and the nest or the home is empty, right? Empty of kids. Just mom and dad are left. The empty nest. And it's important to understand this is a major life transition. So it's really important, and it's good to be prepared for it. I'm speaking from experience here. Our kids are 29 and 27 years old. We've gone through the college years, 2 weddings, the birth of 3 grandkids, and all that all includes, right? I've observed over the number of years I've pastored, I've observed many parents that they simply avoid thinking about or talking about or planning on how to deal with the empty nest. It's a very odd thing, especially in the Christian world, because as Christian parents, our goal is to raise kids who love the Lord, who live out their faith. We want our kids to be loving people toward others, right? We want them to be responsible adults who contribute to society in good and healthy ways. We want them to get married, have family of their own. An obvious part of all that is that the kids move out and they begin living on their own, right? We want them to be independent of us, of their parents, not isolated from us, not detached, but independent and self-sustaining. But I've observed so many parents who really struggle with this good and healthy and normal maturation step of the kids moving out, right? These parents try and hold on very tightly, refusing to let go of their grown adult children, and instead of blessing them as their children begin making their own path in the world as adults, some parents make it very difficult for their adult kids to detach in a healthy way. So when that happens, you see a lot of unhealthy detachments. And there's a lot to this topic that I won't be able to cover in this video, but I'll try to cover 3 primary things for you to know and consider. The first one is this: the empty nest is coming, and it's good. It's a good thing. So don't live in denial. The empty nest will become a reality in your life. If your adult kids don't leave the nest, something is wrong. They are meant to fly on their own, not to remain under your wings and under your care and provision in your basement. They need to spread their wings and fly. Now, this is not true in every case. I'm going to generalize in a couple things here. But I have noticed that moms tend to struggle with the empty nest more than dads do. Part of this is certainly the maternal instinct and bond, and the amount of time moms tend to spend with kids, especially if you're a homeschool family. But it goes beyond that. It's an identity issue. Moms, more than dads, have their identity wrapped up in being a mom, being a parent. And when kids move out of the nest, it can leave mom in an identity crisis. Much the same way as men tend to make their work their identity, and retirement brings men an identity crisis. Neither of those are healthy. If you have a crisis of identity when your kids move out, that's not a sign of good parenting or parental love. All right, that's not a healthy thing. Mom and dad, listen, as Christians, your identity, your core identity as a Christian, is tied to Christ. You are a child of God, a co-heir with Christ, a chosen son or daughter of God. Peter writes this in 1 Peter 2, verse 9, "You are a chosen race, a royal priesthood, a holy nation, a people for his own possession, that you may proclaim the excellencies of him who called you out of darkness into his marvelous light. Once you were not a people, but now you are God's people. Once you had not received mercy, but now you have received mercy." That's your identity, right? It's never a good or healthy way to live if we find our identity or our in our work or in parenthood. Work and parenthood are very good things, right? Vital things in life, but not the right thing when it comes to the core of our identity. All right. Second, plan for the empty nest. Plan for the empty nest. So, how do you do that? I'm going to focus on men here. So, men, husbands, fathers, listen. How do you plan for the empty nest? Never stop dating your wife. In video number 2 of this series, I titled that "The Priority and Importance of Your Marriage Throughout the Parenting Years," right? I covered much of this point here that I'm going to talk about right now. I recently saw a stat that in the early years of the empty nest phase, many couples get divorced. I mean, imagine that. After raising kids for over 20 years, a couple gets divorced at that point. Right when the richest time of your family life is taking shape as your kids get married, as they begin to have kids. You enter the grandparent stage, which, by the way, is totally undersold. It's at that point the couple gets divorced. Why is that? Well, because they never planned for the empty nest. Meaning they stopped romance. And I'm going to put the blame on the husbands here, okay? Partly because I think there's a lot of blame for the husbands, but I can't blame the wives here. It's a different issue. And listen, the husband often detaches during the child-raising phase and then buries himself in his work or his hobbies and sports, and he stops chasing his wife. He stops pursuing her, stops showing his love for her, and the couple grows apart. And instead of a married couple in love raising their children, they kind of morph into a mini corporation or a small business form of a married couple. They're taking care of the balance sheet and the endless to-do list that comes with raising kids, and they form a functioning but not a loving and intimate partnership, a functioning partnership. And they're partners, not lovers anymore. And when the kids leave, they wonder why they're still together. Who are you? They've evolved into living in two very different worlds. So men, you need to prepare your family, you and your wife primarily, for the coming empty nest years. So be involved with your kids. Be involved with raising your kids. Don't outsource or insource all that to your wife. Date your wife. Prioritize your marriage during the raising kids years. How do you do that? Get babysitters and take her out to dinner once a week, once every other week. Get babysitters. Take her away for a weekend at a resort. Be together. Invest in your marriage while you're raising your kids. And that will help prepare you for the empty nest years. So be intentional and plan for those years, which are coming and they get here fast. Third thing is your role as a parent must change. This is a tough one, right? Now, why does your role as a parent have to change? Well, because adult kids don't need a parent like they did when they were 10 years old, right? You have to let go. And let's talk about the reality here is there's a sense of loss, there's a sense of grief. But know that is normal. It is normal to feel loss or grief when you enter the empty nest years. The empty nest is one of life's biggest and most drastic transitions. I didn't realize how drastic until we were in the transition and the years it took to adjust, right? To mourn through that process. Now, what's not normal or healthy is if you don't move past that sense of loss or that grief. But think about this. Think about this. You will likely spend more years in the empty nest phase, in that different parent role, as you do in the active parent role. You can spend as many as 30 or 40 years in the empty nest years, possibly. And 20 or 25 years is probably the average for the raising kids phase. Now, if your role as parent changes, well, what do you become? What does it morph into? Well, I don't know. It's a different role. It's a weird combination of sometimes you're a friend, sometimes you're an advisor, and be very, very careful in giving advice to your adult children. All right, we'll talk about that next video, but sometimes though they need some advice and want it. Sometimes you're a cheerleader. Sometimes you do become a parent for a moment, but you're a grandparent and you're also a legacy builder at the same time. So there's lots of hats you wear in this role. Now, the empty nest is not a topic that you find a lot of verses in the Bible that the Bible addresses. And the reason is that God has designed us, the family, that when our kids become adults, we change from the role of a parent. So the biblical verses which speak to how to relate to your adult kids are the one another passages. Right? This is a little bit of a preview for the next video, but any verse that teaches how we are to treat one another is what applies to this phase of life. For example, there's an issue many empty nest parents face is how to help their adult kids as they're starting to get on their own feet and their own path of life. Sometimes they need some assistance. They run into difficult times, right? We face this with our kids. 2 Thessalonians 3, verse 10, for even when we were with you, Paul writes, we would give you this command. If anyone's not willing to work, let him not eat. Your kids as adults sometimes need to go through some tough times. Is this verse talking about some tough love here in regard to parent and adult children? Yes. Yeah, it probably is. There's ways to navigate that where they can still have to carry some burden, but you make sure they eat, they have meals. There are many, many verses in Scripture which address issues we face as empty nesters, but they're not empty nest verses. They're verses which instruct us how we should think about and how we should act with people. But the empty nest is it's an amazing stage of life, but a difficult and important stage for us to understand and navigate together as husband and wife. And as we apply God's wisdom and His Word through that whole process. Well, I hope this is helpful in a little ways at least. Let me give you a couple of sources, the source I used here, and something for you to pursue. It's so Doing Life with Your Adult Children by Jim Burns. Our small group went through a video series, 3 sessions. It's a very short series, only 3 sessions, but very, very helpful. He's got a book on this topic, same title, a website that he is very involved with. Jim Burns has been working with youth and teens and families for probably 30 or 40 years. But homeword.com, I'd refer you to that site. Lots of resources on that site for the parenting years, for your marriage, for the empty nest years, all the different phases of family. That site has some great resources, so I'd encourage you to spend some time there if you're looking for more help. All right. Hey, just a heads up, no video next Tuesday. I'm going to take a little break after the Easter weekend coming up here. Our next video, 2 weeks from today, on April 7th, no, it's the 14th, I think it is going to cover the topic, getting along with your adult children. So, different world, and we'll talk about how to do this, where some of the boundaries are as parent to adult child, and we'll go over some of those things. Thanks for taking a few minutes to connect with me today here on this video. I hope you can join us this week. Easter week is this week. So I hope you can join us. This Friday is Good Friday. And we have a Good Friday service at 7 p.m. I hope you can join us for that. It will be live streamed. And this Sunday is Easter. Join us for our Easter celebration. Always an amazing time together. Service times 9:15 and 11 o'clock. And I would love to have you here in person as we have Living Crosses, a great time of worship, and a message about Jesus' resurrection appearance to the disciples at the Sea of Galilee. Live stream is available. If you're unable to be here in person, to watch the live stream, just go to our website. There's a link there that will take you to the live stream, or just go straight to our YouTube channel. Search out Canyon del Oro Bible Church. Click on our logo and subscribe and join us via the live stream. We'd love to have you celebrate Easter weekend with us. Thanks again for watching. I pray this has been helpful for you. And I pray you're a blessing to everyone you meet this week. Bye-bye.